Hello YouTube, Slate Warrior here, finally bringing you my review of round 5 of the next YugiTuber on Underworld 6667's channel. If you didn't notice, I didn't make one for last round, and I apologize for that, but I'd actually like to go back to my round 3 review, the top 8, because at the end of the video I stated that it would be cutting to top 4, which, I assume that would make sense. They've been cutting in half up to this point, but of course it did cut to top 6, and then this cut to top 4, so, I just want to, say that I messed up there. I don't really think anybody cares now. It's 2 videos later, but, I just wanted to make sure that everybody realizes that I made a mistake. So, let's get on to the top 4. I've decided that I'm going to try to keep this round's review shorter in length when compared to the last 3 round reviews. Those ones were getting a little bit lengthy, but I've reviewed the content that I discussed in those, and I think that some of it, either at the beginning or the end, was just unnecessary for the overall quality of the video. And since this is a topic that I believe is sort of wide appealing, if you're just going across videos of somebody that you don't necessarily subscribe to, since you don't have an emotional connection to that person, you're more likely to click on the video if it's shorter than if it's longer. You're going in the dark. So if it ends up being something that you don't like and it was a shorter video, then essentially you've wasted less of your time. I know that since this is a top 4 discussion, when compared to my other videos, which are top 8, 16, 32 discussions, it'll be inherently shorter because I have fewer videos to discuss. But I thought I should just let you guys know that, and I guess making the sort of disclaimer kind of increases the overall length of the video as it is, but I felt that it was important to let you guys know, because I am trying to keep this a little bit shorter, just to increase my overall quality for you guys. So before I get started about each individual round, I just want to discuss the topic of the round, which was a top 10 video, and I want to talk about how I was talking to my fellow YouTuber, aclay1788, on Skype, and we were discussing after round 4 what the next round could be, because we'd already hit a lot of big topics in YouTube. We'd done duels, we'd done deck profiles, and we had done art discussions, and then funny videos. Those are some really big topics in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and he suggested maybe we'd be doing a pack opening. I said, no, probably not, because if you are going a pack opening video, you are most likely to thumbs it up if they pulled good, and that's something that's random. And I actually suggested that it might be a top 10 video. I'm thinking to channels like Team D-Boys or Team APS or Team Apps or whatever they're called, and they do really good top 10 videos. So I thought maybe that could be something that we did for the next YouTuber, and it turned out that I was right. So I thought I'd just point out that this is a topic that I'm really, really interested in, and when watching these videos, I was just impressed by the topics that each of them chose, and I'm going to be looking over each of them now. The first thing that I want to go over when talking about Durock88's entry into this round was that for the majority of the video, it was just him talking to the camera. In fact, it was the most we've seen of this since his video in round 1. It was the most we've seen of this from him since the discussion video. And this is really important for anybody when they're making any sort of media, is to connect with the audience. But in this case, there was a large audience, right? And they're going to be judging you. But since it's a competition, then the purpose of that large audience is to judge you. That's the only reason that they are there, is to either thumbs you up or not, so you can move on to the next round. And because of that, you have to be entertaining, you have to be funny, you have to be appealing, and there's no visual, right? So it's all you. You have to connect with them. And I think he did that really well. Another thing is he was really confident, and this was showed when he said his little tagline that he made up, "Enough talk, let's rock." That just catches your attention. Right before he started showing the clips and doing the countdown, that just gets your attention and gets you ready to start listening to the selections that he picked. And speaking of which, his topic was the top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh moments. Pretty vague, right? Pretty subjective. He just chose. There's no specific levels. There's no actual way, any system to rank this. But I think he had a really good selection of moments from either Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments or, of course, the number 1, which I'll be getting to later. But he had things that happened in terms of card choices that were kind of odd, somebody side decked in a Dark Magician, or somebody played the Protector of the Sanctuary, attacked into a Morphing Jar, who was oh, and somebody was playing Herald of Perfection and ended up getting completely destroyed by an Infernity Doom Dragon, followed by a Deck Devastation Virus. Another thing was, with the 2,222 card deck, he got a stack of commons and threw them all over the floor for you guys. If you don't like that, I don't see what could be any better. But every selection individually was entertaining in its own right, and I loved all of them. And it was well paced. I talk about how pace in a video is important. He was doing it well. He was keeping my attention. He was talking to me, and each selection was good. But to top it off, the last one that he did, number 1, was just a moment that sends chills through all the spines of the people that watched this during their childhood. Yugi top decking Exodia versus Kaiba. Those words, Exodia, Obliterate, that just brings me back. It's so much nostalgia. It just brings me back to my childhood, right? It should do that same thing for you guys too. So I think he had some really good choices and a really good talking to the camera sort of feel. So if you guys agreed, you definitely should have liked that video. It was great, and it was definitely one of my favorite selections from this round. Oh, man. What can I say about the RJB Zeros video, man? it was great. His topic was the top 10 decks that will never die, and he's, we already knew he was a great speaker. I mean, his channel is almost exclusively discussion videos. He's really good in front of the camera. He's really good at spitting words out, unlike I am sometimes. But that he used his forte. Like, he did this to his advantage, and he picked just a great topic. He kept us visually interested by the use of different camera angles, different backgrounds, even different clothes at some points, I believe. But, like, he was funny. He had really good examples. Like, his choices for the top 10 X never die were good, and they were justified, it seemed. Like, he had some pretty good, interesting reasonings to back them up. He also made some really good, like, puns. Like, I know he talked about how Obi-Wan Konami will never hit Dragon Rollers. He also mentioned how Dragon Rollers are never going to get banned, and I have to say I disagree with you, but that's a topic for another time. We're talking about his jokes right now. He made a Spellbook of Fate pun. I'm talking about spellbooks. He talked about Gladiator Beasts and how they always top at the beginning of every format, and that's true, and maybe it'll stay consistent throughout this format. That gets me thinking, you know what I mean? He talked about how the Dragon Rollers had their formats and like spellbooks, and the Dragon Roller spellbook format existed with spellbooks being topped, and that every format spellbooks, you're thinking, you ask somebody what's good, and they always say spellbooks. So not only will spellbooks never die, but it's always like in that tier 2 range. I thought that was pretty interesting. Another joke that he made, I forgot this one, with mermails. He talked about how the cards that can be put into mermails is like an ocean. He said it was a card ocean instead of like a card pool. Get it? Yeah, so he's talking about every card that comes out that is water support ends up being mermail support. Like, think about, like, Tidal came out, Tidal mermails were the deck, you know what I mean? Thinking about just any card that comes out for water, like, a lot of people are taking, like, Fincess in. He talked about how later people are going to start playing double Fin Shark when that does come out. And then, of course, he topped it off with Burn, which was number 3, which I thought was pretty interesting. How, yeah, if you go to the regionals, people always talk about how, Burn is always going to be existent there. And Heroes, which was, I was thinking, like, I paused the video right before he said number 1. When he was doing the honorable mentions, I stopped right after he made a little joke about how, oh, I'm going to make X-Sabers tier this format, right? So I was thinking, what could it be? And Heroes just makes so much sense. I don't know why I didn't think of it myself when I was, pausing the video to think about it. Heroes is a deck that you will see everywhere, and in the OCG, it's tier right now. It's like tier 1. And that is because they got, like, Shadow Mist, they also have Stratos still, but they don't even rely on Stratos as much as the decks here do. Bubble Beat was a deck that kind of relied on Stratos and Bubble Man to make those rank 4s, right? So we're getting the structure deck, and they will probably be played again, like in the meta, like at tournaments. So Heroes is definitely a deck that will never die. Before this video, he had won 3 of the 4 rounds, right? And he was getting, a ton of likes. Everybody was saying in the comments of just like each round's video, oh, I want the RJB0 to win. And I'm a huge fan of the RJB0's channel, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't necessarily a believer in the hype. But now I definitely am. He's definitely the best person. He's definitely the best YouTuber in this competition, like, hands down. I know he also has a lot of subscribers when compared to the other ones. I'm not sure if he has the most necessarily. But, like, I have to be honest with you guys. This was, and I'm not joking, this is a completely true statement. This was the best YugiTube video that I have ever seen. God damn, dude, you were just great. Alright, keep making videos like this, and everybody should subscribe. One of the things that you can always rely on seeing in a video is that it is going to be entertaining, whether the topic is a duel or an actual funny video. That you're definitely going to be seeing some entertainment value throughout the video. That's just kind of what he does on his channel too, even. And I think that was shown exceptionally in 2 elements in this specific video. The first being the intro, the little skit where he bumps into Simo and actually says, oh, I didn't expect to see you here, want to make a video. And I thought that, like, having the little, like, face cam of P-Bunny, like, recording as well, and just bumping into each other and just happening to, on a whim, make this video, whether it actually was coincidental or not. I actually think that there could be a chance that they planned it, but if they didn't, we don't know. And they put it off well, it makes us think that they didn't plan it. And the other one that I want to talk about is he had, like, a box pop up at the top where it counted out how many times they said "so good" in reference to a card, either him or Simo. And I think that was pretty cool because, like, you're thinking about it at the beginning of the video, oh, how many times are they end up saying "so good"? Is it really that much that they had to put a box up there to count it for us? But just the whole concept of collaborating with another YouTuber for this round was just great in my opinion. Like, just before making this little recording, I go and watch each of the videos just to refresh my mind on each of them. And I actually forgot that it was P-Bunny that moved on. I thought it was Simo that moved on just for a second because they collaborate so well together. They're sitting in front of the wall talking about each of the cards. And part of that is actually why I believe that this was one of, like, the weaker videos of the round. They didn't give the best reasonings for each of the tech cards that they mentioned, even though they picked some really good tech cards. And part of this might just be from the fact that they were, picking up these cards on the spot. They're picking up the idea that they're just recording in front of a wall, and they didn't have as much time to plan out what exactly they were going to say. It clearly wasn't scripted like some of the other ones. Like RJB Zeros and Dual Rocks and RH Niskers definitely seemed pretty scripted, whereas this one seemed pretty off the cuff, like a lot of P Bunny's videos seem to be. But he talked about cards like My Body is a Swag, and he talked about number 1 was Neospatian Granmole, and he actually talked about Mind Crush, and he totally missed the opportunity to use the clip from the anime. Mind Crush! And then the last thing what I want to say is, at the end of the video, he mentioned how we needed to thumbs this video up for America, and this video actually didn't get as many likes as I thought just because of that. Putting that at the end actually made me go and thumbs up the video because I do live in America, and I don't know, maybe we really are as arrogant as he thinks, but I think that just because of that could have gotten more people to like the video. I think that was a really good thing to implement, even though he did actually mess up. The RJB Zero is not from Canada. He did clear that up in the comments, but I think that this video had a lot of potential. The subject wasn't as original as some of the other ones, the other 3, but if he would have had a little bit better reasonings for each of the cards, this could have been a standout video. Now, to talk about the video from the Shady Burn player himself, RH Nisker. He talked about the anime, and he, in this competition, is being known as the risk taker because, of course, he sat a camera in front of a bed for 10 minutes and turned that in and expected him to move him on. And somehow it did. But putting that aside for the moment, he talked about the anime, as I said in this video. And that is a risk, in my opinion, because even though, like he said, nobody's talked about it before, that means that we don't know if it is going to be a success or not based on the past rounds. In my case, I have not followed the anime as closely as I'd like to. I love the anime. I watched it when I was younger, you know what I mean? But I've never been somebody who could just think of a TV show and just watch it episode for episode. I just can't do that. So I definitely do want to revisit it, and this video did spark me some more interest in it. But because of that, I believe that there are other people like me that don't have as directly of a connection as the anime as they do to the card game. Think about it. Underworld 667's channel is a channel based on things that happen in the real world, the actual card game. So that does not mean that putting a video out about the anime is going to be bad, but it does mean that if we're taking that video and we're showing it to the audience of Underworld 667's channel, there could be a little bit of a separation there between the real-life card game and the anime that overall could have contributed to him not having as successful as a video if he could have been. One of the things about RH Nisker's videos is that they always have lots of haters. You look at the likes and dislike button, and I know the dislike button doesn't actually factor into who moves on, but he always has a certain amount of dislikes. This one had like 30 or 40 just because of the round where he had a camera in front of a bed and called that his video. But he talked about some antagonists in the anime. That was his topic. His topic was the top 10 antagonists in his opinion. So this, like Durock 88's video, is not something that can actually be ranked. It's just his opinion. Some of the ones that I was the most interested in was Noah Kaiba. He talked about how Noah Kaiba was in an accident and that his mind was entrapped in this realm that his dad, I forget his name, but his dad made it so he could live, and then that brought out some of the best monsters that we all remember, like Dragon Master Knight and Five-Headed Dragon. Another one was Pegasus, which I can't believe was only number 8. Pegasus is definitely one of my favorite antagonists. I know that might be because I focused mostly on the first 2 series when watching it. I did watch a little bit of the third, but Pegasus is just as number 8. He created the game, you know what I mean? So I thought that maybe he could have been a little bit higher. There was other people like Bakura that was really high up, and he said the biggest, no, he was some 6, I think, actually. The biggest downfall of Bakura was that it takes so long for his character to develop. Why was he so evil? Merrick was number 1, and I think this was a really good choice for number 1. I know people like Vexicus4666 are huge advocates of Merrick as an antagonist. I think his character was developed really good. But another really big bonus to RH Nisker's video is that he did hella research. He knew everything about each of these characters. He knew every reason why they were bad and all their motivations, all of their backstories, and he definitely exhibited that very well when he was talking about them. I think that he definitely has knowledge of these characters, and he knows why he put them where he did. The only thing that I want to talk about in terms of the order is, like I said, about Pegasus. Another one is, I saw the Bonds Beyond Time movie, where Jaden, Yusei, Yugi get together, and I don't know why he put Paradox so high. So, if you're watching this, RH Nisker, can you, explain that a little bit? Because, I don't know. I mean, he didn't even talk about Paradox for as long as he talked about some of the other characters. So, tell me why you put him so high. I know, Alenthio was talking about that in a comment below the video, actually. Why was Paradox so high? And that's something that I agree with. You didn't even talk about him that much. It didn't seem like you were that interested in him. He doesn't even seem like that much interesting of a character. So, besides that, because the video was good. I thought the video was really interesting, and it's definitely motivating me to go see more of the anime. But it was decent. I think that the biggest downfalls where the people watching Underworld's channel don't necessarily know the anime as well as you, but one of the biggest upsides is that for the people that do watch the anime, the knowledge that you showed off was extremely impressive. So this pretty much concludes my review of this round. Like I said, I'm going to keep this one shorter. As for who actually made it on and the little spoiler that I do, I'm not going to include the values of likes because I didn't actually get the values of likes in time. But who's going to be moving on is RGB0 was first, Durock was second, RH Disker was third, and P-Bunny was fourth. So that means that the top two is going to be Durock88 with his video on the top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh moments, and RGB0 with his admittedly perfect video on the top 10 decks that will never die. So, you know, if you guys like either of those channels or the other two channels, or you like this video, make sure to drop a like and favorite this video if you like it that much. Subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos and a review, I guess, of the last round of the next YouTuber. I'll definitely be getting onto that. Share this with your Yu-Gi-Oh friends or any fans of the series on Underworld's channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later, YouTube.